The Human Optimization Podcast is proudly brought to you by Vicon Supplements, where quality meets sustainability. Vicon's all-natural supplements are handcrafted and sustainably produced in Canada, bringing you products that nourish both your well-being and our planet. Visit viconsupplements.com today and be a part of a greener, healthier future.
Are you ready to embark on a journey to the best version of you? Join me, Lisa Pitel-Killah, as I dive deep into the world of hair tissue mineral analysis and functional medicine with fellow experts, and guide you on the path of unlocking your full potential. As a multi-time kettlebell sport world champion, I'm on a mission to reach high-performance professionals from around the world to help you minimize tiring symptoms, maximize health, and gain unstoppable energy. This is the Human Optimization Podcast. Welcome, everybody, to a brand new episode of the Human Optimization Podcast. I am your host, Lisa Pitel-Killah. I am always saying how excited I am about our guest today, but this one is truly inspirational with the ideas that have come to the table, and I'm going to mention her book. So Samantha Dreiling is a Canadian entrepreneur and co-founder of Ananda Elixirs, where they create functional mushroom powdered beverages designed to elevate everyday rituals. She's passionate about making wellness approachable and fun, pairing bold flavors and thoughtfully selected ingredients to support modern life, from focus and calm to balance and vitality. Through Ananda, Samantha strives to share a simple message. You don't have to choose between feeling good and enjoying life. I love that. You can do both. Samantha is also a mother of 2 daughters and author of the book Idea, Awaken Your Inner Goddess. Samantha, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I know, right? We have so much to dive into today.
Yeah.
So
let's go.
Give us, yeah, right? Let's go. Give us your background. Like, how did you come to this? What in your life brought you right here, right now?
Oh my gosh. It's such a long, wild journey, you know? You look back and you think all of those things that didn't make sense now make sense. And they're all guiding you to this pinnacle of it all meeting together. And it's just so crazy. So, long story short, I've been very, very interested in wellness for forever.
Yep.
My mom growing up was like, we would go to acupuncturists and we had a naturopath, and was very into like alternative medicine and meditation and yoga and all sorts of things. And so I kind of grew up with that mindset of that there's always different ways to get to what you're looking to do.
Yep.
And I always kind of was drawn to alternative options of wellness and health. And so that has been always something that is important to me, is putting into and on my body healthy things, healthy products, avoiding the chemicals and the fake stuff and the overly processed things, and just things that we shouldn't necessarily be ingesting or putting on our skin. When I was 19, I became a makeup artist and started working for a beauty company that had natural beauty. Built that business for about 10 years to the top level, built a multi-million-dollar sales team. That was great. During COVID, it all came crashing down. I had the hardest year of my life, lost my dad, almost died during childbirth. Within a month of each other. The borders are closed because of COVID. Can't get home to Canada. I was living in the US at the time. My business, kept going down and down and down. And I was pushing and pushing and pushing and trying to make it work and trying to lift myself back up after this, thing after thing. Just felt like everything was crumbling apart. And, I have always been a very optimistic person, but I think that year specifically was very much challenged. Can you keep your mindset positive? Can you keep getting back up when you really, really feel like nothing is working for you.
Yep.
And I do, and I always will, and I always do. But that basically that, sometimes when you think you're buried, you're really being planted. I love
Yep.
that quote. That is truly how it feels now, looking back on that time, because I was so committed to continuing to do what I was doing because I said I was going to do it forever, that it felt like I couldn't back out. It felt like I was, giving up or going against my integrity to stop what I was doing and look for a new path. But, the universe starts in whispers, and eventually it's going to shake you and scream until you listen. And that's kind of how it felt. So finally, I kind of surrendered, and I said to my husband, we're in this place where we just felt so stuck, like nothing was working. It felt like we kept hitting a wall. And I always loved and lived by this quote by Joseph Campbell that says, when you follow your bliss, the universe will open doors where there were once only walls.
Mm.
And it felt like we were only hitting walls. So I'm like, I need doors. What do you
Yep.
do? Follow your bliss. Are we following our bliss right now? Does this still feel like bliss? It used to feel like bliss. Does it still feel like bliss? Does it feel like growth? Does it feel like expansion? Does it feel like, oh, I'm alive and excited? Not really anymore. So I said, what would we be doing if we were following our bliss? And we had this open conversation where we just started rambling off different things that excite us and that, bring us joy. And during that conversation, he said, what if we started a mushroom company? Because we'd both had these incredible experiences using functional mushrooms. For
Yep.
me, after being postpartum, it like completely changed my life. That's when I started taking those mushrooms. I got up every morning at 5 a.m., wrote that book and published it by myself in 9 months. It was like the birth
Wow.
of another baby, while being pregnant with my second. Built that prior business to the top during that time. Like I was on fire, had energy again instead of feeling like drained and exhausted and not having the motivation. Was working out every day. I didn't have that afternoon crash. Like I was it changed my life. So Dylan had also had a concussion and started taking lion's mane, and he really noticed a difference with that. So we had both had these incredible experiences with mushrooms. We watched the movie Fantastic Fungi. It's a fantastic documentary on mushrooms. We are both crying, so moved by the fungi in that movie. And so, basically this full circle thing of like, we always talked about that there's no good mushroom products that are exciting and fun and delicious. Yep. If they are, they're super expensive. You buy a bottle for like $6 for one serving, right?
Yeah.
And so this is how we created Shroom Soda. We came home that day. We started buying stuff. We started extracting mushrooms in our kitchen and buying different ingredients and mixing things together. And over the next couple of months, we had this little preliminary product, and it's changed and grown so much since then. But it did feel like bliss. It felt exciting. It felt exhilarating. It made us feel alive again. Like we had this new purpose of what could this become? It wasn't even like we had this end goal, and we still don't. It's just this excitement every day of like, what's possible now? And what feels the most exciting, what feels the most aligned, what feels like bliss, let's follow that. And we've done that every step of the way. And it's just been the most incredible journey.
That is amazing. Wow. And to hear that, because I feel like sometimes people get stuck, right? We've all been there. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody's been there. You get stuck in that, and you're talking about like that COVID year, everything. You just feel like you're hitting your head on the wall going, why can't I just get to the next stage of where I want to go, right? And I feel like sometimes we do have to kind of step back and say, okay, what is the universe trying to tell us? And obviously you kind of rerouted, did a bit of a U-turn and went, wait a minute, I need to pay attention to this because this is important, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And now you're here, and that's amazing. So let's talk about adaptogenic mushrooms. You mentioned lion's mane, right? because they are so powerful. So I want to start with that, a little bit about the power behind them. And then I really want to talk about what you created, which was
Yeah.
shroom soda, right? Like where,
Yep.
because that is like next level innovation. So let's
Thank
start with what
you.
they can do. And then let's talk about how you put your own twist on that to make it really amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. So we use 4 mushrooms in this product right now.
Mhm.
We've done some different iterations for different specialty things, and we're always kind of coming up with different things. But right now in shroom soda, we have 4 functional mushrooms. So functional just means that they are shown to have different support of the body. They're not psychedelic. They're not making you trip
Yep.
or anything like that. They're legal, and they have some function. They support the function of the body in one or another way. So all of the mushrooms that we use are incredible antioxidants. They're loaded with, different nutrients and vitamins and minerals and antioxidants. So supporting overall well-being, reducing inflammation. Some of them have antiviral properties. Some of them have anti-tumor properties. Some of them have antibacterial properties. So they're really cool like that. But we kind of tend to focus on the most studied aspects of each of the mushrooms in kind of our sharing of what these different mushrooms do. So lion's mane is known as kind of the brain mushroom. It actually kind of looks like a brain. It's got all these little strands that come down. I don't know the mushroom term. I do, but I can't think of it right now. But yeah, it's literally like a lion's mane coming down, growing down. It's really, really cool looking. You can eat it, so you can cook it. You can actually make a really good vegan steak with it. You can put some herbs and stuff and grill it like a steak.
Mhm.
And it's super good. Or you can make even like a chicken with it, like a breaded chicken. I've done that before. It's really delicious. So there is lion's mane. Lion's mane is in studies has been shown to increase the nerve growth factor in your body. So also neuroregenesis. So most of the time, it's very hard to have something promote the growth of new brain cells in adults. And lion's mane is one thing that has been shown to be able to do that, which is really, really cool. With a mushroom tincture, with a mushroom extract, a dual extract,
Mhm.
which means alcohol and water, lion's mane and those benefits in the lion's mane for the brain can actually get past the blood-brain barrier, which other compounds cannot. So
Got
that's
it.
why it's really, really cool as the brain mushroom, being able to support different things like that. So that's why, creating new neural pathways and things like that, these new brain cells, that's why it's known to potentially help with my husband's concussion, things like that. I'm not saying it's a
Yeah.
cure, but just very supportive in that way of being able to, help get things back to where they should be, really.
Yeah.
The nervous system as well. There's one study with lion's mane that's done on women with going through menopause, who have been suffering from like depression and anxiety symptoms.
Mhm.
And in that study, it was shown to help increase their overall happiness and reducing their anxiety. So that's a really cool aspect of lion's mane as well. It does so many other things, but those are kind of the main things that we focus on for lion's mane. Brain mushroom. Reishi is a mushroom that's been used for thousands of years in traditional Chinese medicine and also in other places around the world. So it's a hard mushroom. You can't eat it. That and turkey tail, you can't just eat it like lion's mane.
Yeah.
But you brew it in a tea. Usually is how they would do it, and they would boil it and extract it that way, which is one of the ways that we're doing our extraction.
Mhm.
And reishi is known to kind of be the calm mushroom. Um, it helps balance things out. So it's been shown in some studies to help balance blood sugar levels, and even a blood pressure, like lowering blood pressure as well. For that reason, we always recommend people ask their doctor if they're on any kind of like a
Of
blood
course.
supporting medication, because it
Mhm.
can actually help, but like you might need to get that, tailored and supported properly by a doctor. But yeah, reishi is also shown to help reduce cortisol or suppress cortisol, like overproduction of cortisol. So some people notice when taking reishi some people notice right away, but most people it takes taking it consistently to start to feel like more calm, just not as overreactive. And that was definitely something that I experienced from drinking it and taking it on a consistent basis. So that's reishi. I call her she's definitely like the prana, like the life force, goddess energy of a mushroom, I feel like. So that's reishi. And then turkey tail is the immune mushroom. So it's used in Japan and Korea in hospitals now alongside cancer treatment because it's shown to help support the immune system and help kind of build
Amazing.
back up the immune system. So that one's a really, really great one. I find before we started this, our kids would be getting sick like every 2 weeks, all the time. We started the company and they started, drinking it little bits here and there.
Yep.
And that first year, they didn't get sick for 6 months. And then they had one cold and then they didn't get sick for another 6 months. And so it was like one a year versus
all the
like
time,
constantly, all of us getting, something. So I've had other people mention that, you know what, I don't notice a huge difference, but I do notice I haven't gotten sick in a while as much, so it's very different for every person how they experience taking a blend of mushrooms. Like some people notice a specific mushroom effect very strongly, and some people don't notice anything at all. But then maybe notice things like that, or they stop taking it and then they're like, oh, actually, now I have way more brain fog and I'm way more tired. Maybe it was helping me. So everybody's a little bit different and like how sensitive their body is to different things. And it's very interesting to kind of get that feedback from so many different people now that we have a good enough customer base to kind of get these tidbits of data on how it affects different people differently. And then the last mushroom that we use is cordyceps. So cordyceps is typically like a mushroom that grows on like a worm. We don't use that kind. We use one that is not grown on an insect.
Just to confirm.
Yeah. So there's different like species of it. And we use Cordyceps militaris, which is not grown on any insects. It's not a little zombie mushroom eating anything. But so that one is really interesting too. The studies show it being antiviral and things like that as well. But some of the studies have shown that it can help potentially increase endurance and kind of like your performance in physical activity. So they did a study with athletes where they were taking a higher dose of cordyceps and showed that it helps potentially helped increase the VO2 max. So how much oxygen your body was able to kind of uptake and utilize, and then also your ATP, so the cells that become or the molecules that become energy in your body. So like a lot of people do find taking our product or taking any mushrooms, that was my experience when I first started taking another mushroom product, was way more energy. And it's not like a caffeine energy, like a stimulant. It's like your cells have more energy to function, and therefore your whole body just feels more ready for life. And that feels really, really good.
Absolutely.
So that was my experience, especially postpartum, just like, oh my God, I actually feel like myself again. This is not going to be forever. This is really fantastic.
Yeah. That's amazing. Well, and again, so cordyceps for sure, like there's been so many studies done. Oh my gosh, the first one was, I think, a couple decades ago where there was Olympians and it was a cycling team actually that was part of that study that had crazy results that had changed. Yeah, which was really interesting.
So cool, right?
Yeah. Well, and I didn't know that I could like just grill turkey tail. Or
not turkey tail, lion's mane. Yeah.
Lion's mane. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I want
You
to
can
do that now.
actually eat cordyceps too. You can cook them up and eat those too. They're a little bit more weird though.
Yep.
But lion's mane, you can buy it at most grocery stores now. Like in the mushroom section, a lot of times they'll have lion's mane, and
Yep.
you can kind of slice it and cook it on a pan. Put some you can cook it in so many different ways.
Yep.
But it's a really good meat alternative. Like mushrooms are a really good meat alternative because they have that kind of meaty texture, and they can absorb the flavor that you're using to cook it with. But yeah, lion's mane is really a good mushroom for eating in that way.
I'm definitely going to try that. I had
Yeah.
no clue. I portobello mushrooms, things like that. It's like, yeah. But I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, the mushrooms that you use, where they come from. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So we've over the years, like we started just, finding a mushroom. Well, first we tried to grow them, which was not going to work, especially in Arizona, because it's way too dry there. And we did not know what we were doing. And we wanted them to be properly tested, make sure they were, what we wanted them to be and clean and all of that. So we started buying the mushrooms from one supplier. And then as we went, we learned more and more about the quality and the type of growing that we wanted to have. So now we source, most of the time our mushrooms are coming from a farm in Oregon.
Nice.
And it's an outdoor farm, and they use a process called sustainable agroforestry. So basically, instead of growing, so there's a lot I can say here. Typically, when you're getting a grow kit or when you're buying mushrooms or a supplement, a lot of the time they're using mushrooms that are grown on oats and rice. And one of the biggest things that you get from a mushroom product is a high amount of beta glucans. But there's a lot of different kinds of beta glucans. And so basically within the mushroom industry, right when we started this, there was this big kind of info scare coming out where people found out that one of these big mushroom companies was taking the block of oats and rice that the mushroom was growing in, taking all of it with the mycelium, the roots of the mushroom growing throughout that substrate, grinding up the oats and rice and the mycelium and putting that in capsules and selling that. And the other place that you're getting a lot of beta glucans from is oats. Oats have a super high amount of beta glucans. So they're saying, you get all these beta glucans, but you're mostly paying for oats and rice, not for these mushrooms. So now it's a big deal that your product also has the fruiting body. There's some benefits in mycelium, especially lion's mane mycelium, but for the most part, you want to have the fruiting body, not the mycelium of the mushroom.
Yep.
So now, that's what people are looking for. We've always done the fruiting body of the mushroom. And we're extracting that fruiting body. We're not grinding it into a powder and selling it as a powder. We do a liquid extraction, right? So, so that's one of the first things to know. When we've done testing with our manufacturer is literally a mushroom expert. He's leading the way in North America for the best possible liquid mushroom extracts you can ever get. And he's the one who makes our products. So it's really been an incredible partnership for us to continuously level up the quality without affecting the price, because he has the best connections with all of these small farmers that are actually growing mushrooms the best way you can possibly grow them. So so most of them are grown using sustainable agroforestry. They're grown on an actual log. So they set them up into these kind of little log houses that are then, drilled holes and inoculated with the mushroom spores, and then they grow out and then they harvest them. And when the lion's mane is grown on the actual logs versus on oats and rice, especially lion's mane, the test that we did with him was that if they are grown on oats and rice, the lion's mane does not contain the beneficial compounds to the brain. So they have to be grown on what they would grow on in the wild, which is wood. It's a log, wood, bark, peat, moss, that type of stuff has to be the substrate for lion's mane to get the benefits. So that's where we get ours. We have some of our reishi and sometimes turkey tail that is wild harvested in Northern Ontario.
Nice.
It really just depends on the batch, what's available from where. So those are the two main places that we're getting stuff. Sometimes we get the cordyceps because cordyceps is not grown on logs. It's grown on like basically it has to eat a bacteria. So it's grown in a lab. And that right now is grown in, I think, Utah. But yeah, we use like a couple different suppliers. We try to get, when we do get the wild harvested ones in Ontario, I love that. But sometimes they can't find enough for us, and they have to actually have the people going out and hunting in the forest for hours and hours, and then, so it can be a lot. But yeah, we usually have at least some of that in our batches, and then or grown on the logs in Oregon.
Well, yeah, and interesting you talk about, Northern Ontario, because there are benefits to the temperatures that the mushrooms are exposed to as well, right?
Yeah. They're these living organisms. Like, it's so cool to understand more about what they are and like what they do. The mycelium literally connects all of nature. It's like nature's interweb. It's how trees communicate with each other, is through the fungal networks underneath the ground all around the world. It's so mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Nature is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
It truly is. Yeah.
It is, for sure. And so I want to dive in now because, again, I talked earlier about innovation, new ideas, right? And bringing this idea of shroom soda to the table. Obviously, you're in your kitchen, right? Been there. It's like, oh, I want to build this. What is it going to be? Tell us how that started. Tell people what it means.
Yeah. So, like, at the time, we knew that we wanted to do a liquid extraction of the mushrooms because that's the best way to take functional mushrooms. When you take a powder, it can be basically either that oats and rice where it's just blended up, or they can separate it and just blend up the actual mushroom, or even the fruiting body of the mushroom, dry it and powder it. But sometimes that's really hard for your body to digest. So you're not necessarily getting all of the benefits because the mushrooms have these chitin walls that your body has to break down. And so when you do a dual extraction, that's the easiest way. It's 100% bioavailable sublingually in your mouth when you're taking it.
Yeah.
So it's the best way to absorb the benefits that you're wanting and paying for in a mushroom product, right? So we knew we wanted to do that. But we also didn't want to, we didn't have the money to start with because we had nothing left. Like, we were at the end of our rope. So in order to start a canned drink, right?
Yep.
You have to have a couple $100,000 to just even do your first batch.
Right.
And then to ship that around, if someone's buying 30 cans, it's so expensive. But we saw this rise of soda, right? So in the US, and now in Canada too, they have it a little bit more, but we were in Arizona at the time when we started it. So Poppy and Olipop were massive, and now they're even more massive. Poppy just sold for $2 billion last year. It's insane. And so it's people don't really drink soda anymore. Well, I mean, a lot of people do, but anyone that's really focused on their health and well-being is trying to avoid soda. Number one, for just the amount of sugar in a can, 50 grams is 2 days worth of all your sugar in one can, in one drink. And, or, a diet one, you're getting just aspartame and chemical sweeteners and chemical flavors and all this artificial stuff that we talked about at the very beginning, right?
Yep.
And so this kind of rise of functional beverages and functional sodas, and I can taste like I'm drinking a soda again, but it's actually good for me or not bad for me. This is really interesting. And having all these nostalgic flavors like root beer and cream soda and cola and these things that you maybe never thought you would taste again, right? For me, there's no way I could drink a can of regular soda. It would make me feel so sick. I would have a pounding headache. I can't even think about it, right?
Yeah.
And so we just thought, how cool would it be to create use a mushroom tincture, but turn it into something that's super concentrated so that you could make a drink with it that tastes really good. And why don't we try doing soda flavors, since there's this, soda's coming back in this healthy way, but there's not really any mushroom sodas. There were a couple of like kombucha type of like bottles of like a mushroom soda that has like one mushroom in it. So there was like all these like kind of other companies that had similar things, but not exactly what we wanted. And so we were like, what would be the product we would want to take every day? And we would want it to have this blend of all the mushrooms. We want it to be, you could carry it anywhere you want to go. You add it to maybe multiple different drinks. Maybe it doesn't have to just be soda.
Yeah.
And then it turned into, we can make mocktails with it. We can, then it's like, this whole sober and less alcohol movement and sober curious. And we could, be a part of that. And it just kind of started evolving into this whole other thing. But that was really kind of, those were all the tick boxes we wanted to address, was a fun flavor that people love and miss. Being kind of versatile enough that you could not just make soda, but have lots of different things. Like our cream soda is vanilla. So people put it in their coffee, their tea, their matcha, their chai, their like lattes as a vanilla sweetener. Every coffee shop could use that product instead of, pumping a bunch of sugar or aspartame vanilla syrup, and have it as a mushroom booster that tastes amazing. And then for our sweetener, we use stevia right now. Right now, stevia is the most concentrated natural sweetener that works in our product. But even figuring out the blend of that was so difficult. It took so long to find the right stevia that's pure, that's that stays diluted in the formula, and that tastes good, that doesn't have the aftertaste as much, and that like all of these pieces went into figuring out the exact formulation to make it as good as it is today. And we're always only trying to get better. So it's been really fun to create something that is very different than what's available. And it's also taken a lot of time and practice to educate people on it, because there is like an education factor, not only on the mushrooms, because a lot of people aren't taking the mushrooms yet, or they don't know what they can do, and then on the other side of it is like, okay, here's this little bottle, it makes 30 drinks, add your 2 droppers to a sparkling water, it tastes like a soda, make mocktails, da 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 da. And so we were doing farmers markets every Saturday and Sunday for a year and a half, just figuring out how to communicate and sell our product. And that started to grow a customer base in Arizona and a little bit in California. We'd go over to California and do events there. But we were just baking it in our kitchen and selling it at the farmers market. Like that's what it was for the first year and a half. And then we decided to move back to Canada. So we were like, hey, we need a manufacturer. We need to level up. We need to be legit now. We actually got investors at that time, which was great because we were just funneling all of our money, like putting it on credit cards to start the business.
Yep.
And then, living off as minimal as we could and putting everything else back in. So it was still a challenging time, but it still was so exciting. And then, that's when we came to Canada. And now we've been in Canada for just a year. We launched last January 1st. It's January 13th today. So just a year.
Yep.
Year over year, this last January to this January, I think we will probably be up 5,000%. And 90% of that business is all Canada.
That's amazing.
So Canada's been, again, like how did you get here? It's like we followed our bliss to go to Canada. It didn't make any sense for the business. We couldn't sell here yet. We had we were doing everything in person in the US. All of our customers were in the US. We had our investors were in the US. None of it made sense, but it was what felt right. And so we did it. And now it's been way beyond what we ever imagined because of Canada.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. That is amazing. And you're so right when you talk. There's two things that kind of came to mind. One, the reduction in, again, alcohol consumption, right? Everybody
Yeah.
wants mocktails and cool things to enjoy in social
Yeah.
settings, but not necessarily alcohol based. So like fits
Yes.
right into that, which is amazing. I feel like um they're just, you can do so many things with them, with the
Yeah.
different
You
flavors
you
and
really can.
right? There's so many things that you can do. The other thing you mentioned too that I think is really important to bring to the table, because a lot of people have a misunderstanding about stevia,
Mhm.
right? Everybody hears stevia and thinks, oh, it's medicinal tasting and it has that
Mhm.
weird aftertaste. But there are so many different types of stevia,
Yeah.
right? Finding that right one, for the fit of what you're looking for it to have the right flavor and the right taste. It's not a one size fits all. And I think it's important to mention that because I come up with that against it in our business too, just with regards to the type of stevia, because there's so many different types.
There is, like, you can pull from, there's different stevia leaves, I guess, or,
Yep.
because it's just a plant. It's like a
Hmm.
mint leaf that if you chew it, it tastes minty, except stevia tastes sweet.
Yep.
It's so cool. We used to grow it in our backyard. I know a lot of people grow it, and, you just mash it up a little bit and you get a sweet drink. Like,
Yep.
it's, it's brilliant. But you can extract like different glycosides from a leaf of stevia and have a different profile of flavor. So, and then sometimes stevia can be mixed with other sweeteners. Ours is not, but I think sometimes even people associate that with, or they watched one health guru on Instagram say, oh, stevia is horrible, da 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 da.
Right.
And it's like, they just believe it. And it's like, guys, you would rather have like a chemical sweetener or like 50 grams of sugar than have this leaf that tastes sweet. Like, you're never going to make everyone happy, that's for sure.
Of course.
but
That is true. Yes, of
but
course.
for us, it is what makes the most sense right now for the formula, and most people absolutely love it.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, and so let's talk about, I want to mention, so go back to your book. Tell us
Hmm.
about your book. And I'm going to spell this out because people are listening. Dia,
Yep.
Awaken Your Inner Goddess. Tell us about the book. You talked about writing it for 9 months, while you were pregnant every day, right? That's where it kind of kicked in. Tell us about the book. Tell us just what it's all about.
Yeah, I feel like my journey from the time that I was, a teenager that struggled with anxiety and maybe like a lack of self-worth and self-esteem, um, to now and to then, even when I wrote it, I had to go on this journey of loving and accepting myself
Mm-hmm.
fully. And I think that in life, we're so programmed to look for validation and love and approval from everything and everyone outside of us. And we're the only one who can fill that hole. We're the only one who can fill that. No amount of money, no title, no person, no amount of approval or fame or whatever it may be that you're seeking outside of yourself will ever be enough if you don't fill yourself first with love and acceptance for exactly where you are right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my lesson of at least a decade journey, of going from that person that hid and, seeked that approval and that validation, whether it's from your parents or from relationships or career or whatever, was always outside of me. And it felt like even if I got the next thing, I still felt empty after a while. And I
Right.
think so many people get stuck on that journey where it just feels like they can accomplish everything, make more and more and more money, get a bigger and bigger and bigger house and a nicer and more expensive car over and over again, and they still feel empty. And to me, it all comes down with this love and acceptance of you. We know that we want that from others, yet we don't give it to ourselves, and we also don't give it to others, right? So it's like, it doesn't make sense, but we're not thinking about it. So idea, Awaken Your Inner Goddess, to me, this inner goddess was like the highest version of me. It was who I'm meant to be, and creating this persona and this image and this like character that I could relate to and talk to and kind of try and see from her perspective, or it helped me on the journey to make it like more concrete of who do I want to be? What would my inner goddess do in this situation? Like if she's the most confident, grounded, sure, loving, best possible version of me, how does she show up in this situation? How does she handle this? You know, all of these things. It was like, it gave me this concrete guidance of how to handle and how to slowly become more like her, basically. And so the whole book is this journey, really, of me starting out in a toxic job and toxic relationships, not believing in myself, you know, not having the self-worth, to, you know, learning through these different lessons and things. And each chapter is kind of a lesson, and usually it has a story, a personal story, but also like kind of a concrete work or tools to add to your toolbox of becoming that next version of you. And then at the end of most of the chapters, there's also a portion called soul work, where you're kind of guided to like do a reflection or an activity that helps you actually like integrate that part of the lesson. So it's almost like this journey that I try to take people on through the book, of figuring out who is your best version. And we call her Dia. Dia is the Latin word for goddess. I'm used to saying Ananda is the Sanskrit word for bliss. I love other languages, apparently. My makeup school was called Paramita, which was also a Sanskrit word. But anyways, so Ananda is Sanskrit word for bliss. Dia or Dea is the Latin word for goddess. So
love it.
Dia, it's like I am becoming the goddess. I am claiming Dia as me. I am the goddess. And so that is the journey, and it's changing the ideas about ourselves and starting to believe who we want to be. So it's a really fun book. There's lots of crazy fun stories in there. Like a little love chapter, motherhood chapter, abundance chapter. There's kind of like a little section for every part of life, while also bringing you through this journey that you can actually go and start becoming this best version that you want to be.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
thank you.
It sounds like, well, and it kind of sounds like, again, you mentioned kind of a guide to that next stage, right? How do we practice, and how do we allow ourselves to be in that position and understand and look at it from a bit of a different perspective? Because I do feel like, especially nowadays, right? I feel like everything passes so fast, and we're all so quick at everything. We don't take the time, you know, to go back to a really old phrase, to smell the roses and really reflect, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you say that, because I know right now I'm in the chapter of my life where it's like the stories for the next book. And I already know it's going to be called Detach. So
I like it.
Because, you know, I wrote that book, I launched it, I barely did anything with it. It was all like COVID happened, and and then I had that crazy year where everything went wrong, or what felt like. But it was also, I kind of got into this place where I was trying to control everything when everything was falling apart. And that guidance that Dia was saying to me, let go, slow down, rest, listen more, don't try to push. Like, and it was through that journey of literally letting go, detaching from the business that I was attached to, from the people that I was attached to, even my dad passing away and not being able to control what happened, even though I wish I could have helped, you know? It's like, and then this whole journey, I feel like I am getting so much better at remaining detached from what happens and just flowing, which is the goddess archetype. She's like on it and organized and confident, but also just like trusting and surrendered, not in a way of giving up, but just I trust it's all happening as it should. And again, now looking back, I see it all happened as it needed to in order to get me here. So I'm excited to see when that comes. It's like, again, I'm just flowing. I'm like, it's not ready yet. There's still a whole lot of stories that are I'm living right now that will be shared whenever she's ready to come through. So
that's amazing. Amazing. Well, and so I also want to bring to the table and mention, because this is important, you're going to be taking your business onto Dragon's Den.
Yeah.
How cool is that? Tell us about that. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it was a wild journey, but like we moved to Canada. We couldn't sell the product here. Finally launched January. We were paying for a house here for rent. We had no money. We were still paying for a house in Arizona. It hadn't sold. It took 9 months to sell.
Wow.
So we were like literally just scraping. I don't even know how we did it every month. Like we didn't, like we almost didn't. Like that was really the reality. It's like we almost didn't. But anyways, the day our house finally closed, it was like we finally took a deep breath, as if like that difficult chapter of those couple of years could finally end. It's like our life in Arizona, as much as we love and miss our friends, could close. Kind of like the challenges of it could close. The same day we got the invite to go on Dragon's Den.
Oh my gosh.
So
Talking
we
about
were
the
like,
universe.
Right? So it was literally like that morning the house closed. We were like, finally, even though we like lost money on the house, like spent so much money, like paying the mortgage the whole time. Like it was so stressful. It was like, we don't care. We're done. It's a fresh start. Let's begin this new chapter. And then it was like, boom, we'd like, audition for Dragon's Den the same day.
Wow.
So we were just like, okay, like so welcoming in this new chapter now with all this kind of release and positivity and excitement now.
Yep.
So then we auditioned, got a call. We sent in an audition, got a call, auditioned for the producer on Zoom, got another call. We'd like you to come in and film. 3 weeks later, we're driving to Toronto to go film.
Wow.
We're in the den. It's terrifying. It's crazy. It's a wild ride. Can't tell you what happens. You'll find out on the 29th.
Yep.
And then, we came back from there and we had just started getting that momentum. So that was April 4th when we found out and sold the house. May 16th, we filmed. And then like from April to May, we doubled. From May to June, we doubled almost again. Wow. And like from May to January, I think we were like up 5 times from January. Wow. And then the next month we just kept growing. Like it was just like this hockey stick. And now it's even like this month, we're just like we finally caught up to be able to produce enough product to keep up with the growth.
Yep.
Last month, like December, we bought this whole new filling line for our production. They just got it set up. Like the last 2 weeks, we're like, we ordered the batch came in. We had to order 2 more batches right away because we're sold out. We have, they're trying to catch up today and yesterday. of over 1,000 orders that have been waiting to be fulfilled because it's just going crazy.
That's
and
amazing.
we haven't even aired yet. We're just like, oh my God, like what is going to happen? So like, it's the most incredible blessing. We're so excited and we're so grateful.
Yeah.
But it's a wild ride. But it has been so much fun. And we're going to have a big party. I would love you to come since you're local.
Absolutely.
We're going to have a big viewing party and it's going to be really, really cool. So yeah, we're really excited. So tune in January 29th on CBC or CBC Gem to watch Dragon's Den. We're actually on the finale, so it's like so exciting.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And that airs, as far as I know, that airs at 8 p.m. Eastern.
8 p.m.
Yeah,
Eastern.
8 p.m. Eastern, January 29th. So make sure you check out Dragon's Den. And yeah, I can't wait to see what happens. I'm so excited. Oh my God. Oh,
Yeah.
Well, Samantha, thank you so much. This has been absolutely amazing. And like I said, it's so wonderful to see the innovation, the bliss behind all of this, and to hear your story. So inspirational. There's so many amazing things happening, and that's super exciting.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so fun chatting. I'm really glad we got to.
Absolutely. So for those of you watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to my channel and give this episode a thumbs up. For those of you listening on your favorite podcast host, we appreciate you. Make sure you follow us, and we will see you next time. Thanks for joining us today on the Human Optimization Podcast. Episode technical production is by Grace Sylvester and guest booking by Stu Tate. Want to learn more? Visit LisaPitel-Killah.com for incredible free resources to supercharge your journey to becoming the best version of you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe to the Human Optimization Podcast and follow me on social media at Lisa Pitel-Killah.